That's quick, Bo. Hey y'all, Cajun Coyote here. Show y'all some of the purchases I got from Black Friday 2018 for the Mustang, of course. So we got the non-adjustable Steeda struts, rear struts. Even though the item says adjustable, they are the rears. Also got the billet aluminum mounts, which are stronger than the cast mounts that come stock on your Mustang. And also got the rear bump stops adjustable. It also came with the fronts as well, but we won't be using those because I didn't buy the front struts. This configuration here, for y'all knowledge, is for stock springs, which is what I'm keeping. If you remove this bottom piece and use just this upper, this configuration is for any lowered cars or any Steeda springs besides stock that you run. So it makes it nice. It is adjustable. And then the same thing for the fronts. If you were running adjustables, you'd run just this front piece. If you're running stock springs, you run both pieces. Also bought this socket from Steeda. It was on their items to purchase whenever I was checking out. I thought it was pretty neat. Slide it out so it'd be easier to tighten. So I'll show y'all how that works throughout the video. These parts right here that come with the struts, we won't be using them besides this black piece due to the fact I did buy the upgraded billet aluminum mounts, which comes with all the components that you need. All right, to install this piece, pretty simple. This will actually thread on to the strut itself. One thing I did, I made sure that it would thread on, make sure there was no machining error issues with thread after I pushed it in to the mount. So all we're gonna do is put this piece or nut into the spherical bearing. It's not that hard of a fit. You also have this nut here, looks like a grade 8 washer. That goes on to your shaft as present here. Kind of pre-did it for y'all. All right guys, so we got the wheel off. This is where the strut's located. At the bottom, see if we can see it, some 15mm nuts and bolts that we're gonna undo. And then right here at the top is 18mm that we're gonna undo after we do the bottoms. As y'all can see, I've upgraded a few suspension components over the years. I got the sway bars, got the bushings. They've lasted. It's been about 2.5 years. Also got the vertical link that's been in there for about 2 years. I just decided to start doing videos due to not finding everything I wanted online. So this will hopefully help y'all. And we'll undo the bottoms next. So those are the two 15mm bolts. They're fairly simple to come out. You kind of see where the location is. I just put it underneath, untorqued it. No problem. Next we'll do these uppers, 18mm. As y'all can see, I got the 18mm undone. Look like they had some Loctite. These are definitely harder to come out than the bottom 15mm bolts. All you gotta do is kind of push it down a little bit or compress it slightly momentarily and pull at the same time. What that does, it kind of allows it to slide on this V-notch and comes right out. So it was fairly simple. The old one off. This is the cast support. It was cheaply made, but it was a Ford OEM part. We're gonna be saving this dust boot. I'm gonna clean it up before I put it on the other one. So I got a 15mm deep socket. Slide onto the nut, or mine screw it. All right, so we got the nut off. Should be able to pull this. See this, that is like a rubber style bushing. Or if you do a comparison of the upgrades, definitely stronger looking. Got the spherical bearing inside versus inside of this, just like a piece of rubber inputted. Very, very light. This one's about the same weight, believe it or not. Maybe the cast is maybe a little bit lighter, but you could definitely tell the strength in this one. definitely more solid. We're gonna slide this boot off and go from there. So I got the boot off. At first I thought everything would push up and I thought that this nut would come off, but it looks like it's stationary. I didn't really try too hard, but all I did was pull some good tension on the top of this boot. I didn't want to rip it because I got to reuse it for my Steeda. I just kept tension on it, kept pulling, and it finally just kind of popped off, and then you just kind of work it till it pops off. But I'm not sure how they get this bump stock off. If you did have to reuse it. Mine don't look too damaged. I got about 27,000 miles on my car. It's 3 years old, so looks pretty good shape for a stock. This is the configuration of all the components for the strut using the stock springs. So as y'all can see, I got my dust boot, got this Teflon washer which I slid on. You got your bump stock here in the order that it needs to be for the stock spring. Again, if you were using a lowered car, this piece comes out and you're left with that. And then we have our washer here that slides on. But what I'm gonna do, this is from the other one, I'm actually gonna slide this on first per the instructions and then tighten it up. I also got some Loctite that I'll be using, which is here, the 242 blue. That's what it recommends. One of my tips is to put WD-40 in here to allow it to slide on. I just tried, it was pretty tough. So I put some WD-40 and it slid right on. So I got it slid on, and what I did, I put the boot over and then just pulled down a little bit and it locks in place. So I put the back end in the vise just to secure it with a towel. Next, we're going to install the thread lock and then slide this component on. So this is what it looks like with the Allen wrench on and the socket. Pretty neat. For extra security, I put a backup nut. That's the original 17 millimeter. Did the exact same process. Slid this on. Just put it on. Put my Allen wrench and tightened it. Thing you do, you put your cover cap, I call it. It slides right on the 17 millimeter nut. Guys, here's a better look of what the bottom looks like, where the 15 millimeter bolts go. And then the top, I'm gonna go ahead and install. Here's the shock, ready to go. What I did notice is the shock is easier to compress. That way I can stab it in and actually make up all the bolts. Versus the stock one. Stock one is pretty rigid and tough. So I got it in. I put the bottom bolts hand tight. That way I can align the upper bolt holes. All right, guys, I got it in. Torqued it to 35 foot-pounds for the 15 mil bolts at the bottom. Then at the top, torqued it to 66 foot-pounds. I actually didn't have to use the jack at the bottom. What I did, I kind of loosened up the bottom bolts. Then kind of just adjusted it to where the top ones would align. Once I got everything pretty much in place, I slowly kind of did an X pattern on tightness. And then the spherical bearing up here, as you can see, it's positioned to where the shaft's still in line. Everything's good. So job complete. I'll put back on the brakes, and if y'all have any questions, leave me some comments and I'll try to help y'all out the best I can. Thanks.